Also that Manamune, the Oblivion Orb Luden's Echo combo from the Zoe, and burst out these mid-game fights. However,
we've got ourselves an Evelynn locked in here by Kanavi. This was seen one time in the LCK, I believe, but this is very much a new meta pick. This is the first time this year that we're seeing Evelynn in the LPL.
This is something Kanavi has been playing a lot of. If you actually check the Instagram and the Twitter of the LPL, you'll see that we do have a post highlighting that Kanavi has been spamming this a heap when it comes to solo queue, and a champion that transforms everything in the game. Because when she hits that level 6 point, she gains her invisibility. You've got to be wary at all points in time as to where she is. So I'll be curious to see how Kanavi can set that up. But if he's not able to get rolling on this assassin, I prefer the LGD composition when it comes to team fights.
Now, but the question is, do we get to team fights? Do we get to late game? Because when I look down the lineup for JDG, I don't see a composition that wants to go for late game team fights. I see a composition that wants to win lanes and dominate the early game.
Let's see if they are able to get that snowball rolling. Honestly, when you see a Camille, we've got this Bard in the bottom lane. The mid-game spike from LGD, I think, is going to be too hot to handle on JD Gaming's side, especially if Kanavi doesn't get rolling.
We'll have to see what JDG have up their sleeves. This is not your standard JDG composition, but they're in game 2. They won game number 1 handedly, and they're feeling confident enough to bring out this Evelynn. We're jumping on Summoner's Rift for game number 2 of our semi-final.
LGD 加油 JDG 加油勇者无畏愈战愈强希望你们打出好成绩
Well, despite the millions of jungle bans that we saw in the draft act, this Kanavi versus Peanut carry matchup continues with an Olaf in the hands of Peanut and Kanavi bringing Evelynn to the Rift, bringing a different breed of carry to what we're used to seeing.
And a bit of a different composition overall from JDG, because we're seeing obviously a very heavy AD focus when we look at the laners, but having that AP damage coming through from Kanavi will facilitate that just a smidge. Yagao, though, needs to be able to get up and rolling here, because he does have a favorable matchup in this mid lane, is able to dash around quite a bit, can poke xiye through the wave, and actually matches a lot of that push power, at least in the early stages. But
so we had a level 1 play in the mid lane, and it cost xiye his flash. He's against an Evelynn. Evelynn can make those early ganks happen, especially if the enemy mid doesn't have a flash.
That is true. The only thing is, I still think with early ward plays and how much power Peanut should have in this Olaf pick in the early stages, I think you still should be LGD favorite as long as Peanut's playing through this mid lane. I think both junglers, though, will be making a lot of pressure towards this mid lane because, especially as we said, Yagao wants to be snowballing this aggressive lead over xiye and then moving into the mid game off of the 2 items in a nice point.
I think also when it comes to that flash being missing, that could just come down to a 1v1. Let's bear in mind, this is Zoe versus Lucian. Yagao handedly wins that 1v1 when it comes to these early levels. He can just all in. When we look at the runes, we've got an electrocute coming out from Kanavi as well. He wants to burst people with that.
I like that Kanavi is path, or at least staying around this bottom side though, because Evelynn as a champion ends up really low on health, clearing her jungle, and having this push power from LvMao and LoKen on the bottom side against Kramer and Mark means that he should be able to secure this Scuttle Crab with the help of LvMao, who you can see is already roaming over to try and help.
It's getting real low to this Gromp. Might actually have to smite this one down. So won't have smite available if Peanut does want to contest with his bottom side Scuttle, but instead he's going to recall before the Scuttle ends up on the map. And Peanut might do a similar thing as he clears off his second buff, though. Let's bear in mind that even though they're both back in at the same time, Peanut still a full camp ahead.
And Peanut will be able to continue this. Like, this is where Kanavi, although you clear very quickly as Evelynn, you do take a lot of damage early. So instead, he's going to be moving back towards this top side. But you can see already that JDG, with Zoom in this top lane, controlling this wave, he'll have a favorable matchup there. Bot lane as well. You have at least a decent amount for Kanavi to play around here in these early stages.
So I want to ask you, Dagda, how on earth this early game operates for both of these teams? Because we're talking about JDG having huge spikes in the mid game, but with, you know, when you're looking at things like an Ornn, it's obvious how a fight starts. But with this kind of composition, it doesn't exactly scream out.
If I'm on LGD's side, what I want is exactly what we're seeing from Peanut right now. Getting into the enemy jungle, spotting out where this Evelynn is, and getting some early vision control. Peanut wants to duel against Kanavi in the jungle, because Evelynn struggles in those 1v1s pre-6, especially against an Olaf, and JDG haven't been the best at reacting to invades in the regular season.
LvMao finds a stun in this bottom lane. Kramer going to be trading on this one as the lethal tempo comes through. And Kramer is not winning this one out. LoKen trying to finish the kills off as Mark has to jump off just to try and take some shots himself. It's just going to be a heal burn on either side as well as the ignite from LvMao.
So LGD again are on the back foot in these early stages, and although Peanut can get into invade off of some of these pushes from xiye, as you can see Yagao burning quickly through his mana to try and keep up with the push from xiye, but at least this Lucian doing a good job to trade against the Zoe to stop her from being able to approach the wave as easily as she would like.
We have to mention as well that Yagao hasn't actually recalled just yet, whereas xiye has right at the start of this game. So already you can see xiye is struggling a little bit in that 1v1 matchup because Yagao will have kill threat if xiye steps out of position, but xiye's flash almost back up.
Kanavi going for an invade as well. The assist ping's going down, LvMao coming over to answer, so trying to see if they can spot out Olaf on these wards. And this is something that we haven't seen a huge amount from JDG as of late. Oftentimes JDG don't play towards Kanavi, but they are now.
The CC exists before level 6. You might be on Olaf, but that hate spike is going to find the charm. The slow there from the red buff. The blast cone not enough, and Peanut's in trouble. No flash in first blood for Kanavi.
And this is so good to see from JDG. This was their bread and butter in the spring split, using LvMao and Yagao to play towards Kanavi off these invades. But in summer, that very much waned, and that was one of the big outcries that we had against JDG was, why aren't you facilitating Kanavi? In the playoffs, though, they're back to their winning ways, and Kanavi's got a kill for himself.
They're going to find themselves first Drake of the game as well. This is the beauty of having these pushing lanes, having the Ashe in the bottom side so that Bard can roam around. Same with his Lucian in the mid lane. Kanavi, he was a little close, but he does get the dragon at the end.
Has full control. You can see xiye stuck underneath his tower, but this is great. And this is what I wanted to see coming through from JDG. With the push power that you have in that bottom lane against something like the Ezreal and the Yuumi, you can go for these aggressive plays with LvMao.
And you know, Kanavi had his flash up that entire time as well. He could have gone for a play using the flash, but didn't need to. Was able to get the blast cone and make it happen. Zoom's having a hard time on the top side, though.
I do want to look at the bottom lane, though. The biggest issue that I'm seeing...
Hang on, there's a trip bubble in the mid lane. xiye not going to follow up on it, though. So let's talk about this bottom lane.
Yeah, the biggest issue that I'm seeing is that Kramer and Mark don't really have any way to combat against LoKen and LvMao. This is why I wanted to see Mark on something like a Leona, where you actually get better control of the wave state because you can play aggressive, you can start to have setups coming through from Peanut, and JDG have to play a lot more respectful. But without that threat in the bottom lane, JDG have full reign of this bottom side of the map. Kanavi's benefiting already off of that, and LGD, once again, not off to a good early game start.
So far, it's not been going their way, but when we do look at the CS numbers across the board, it's kind of fine in the top lane, it's kind of fine in the mid lane. The jungle is even, but in this mid lane, oh sorry, it's kind of fine in the top lane. In the mid lane though, we're starting to see the CS lead build up on the side of Yagao. This Lucian doing wonders for them. And I'm curious at what point Yagao is going to try and get out of this mid lane and transition that lead elsewhere.
And this isn't a matchup that we get to see very often, because honestly, a lot of those AP-focused junglers just have fallen out of the meta. Gragas isn't there, the Nidalee is banned away a lot against JDG, but thanks to this Evelynn pick coming in, you can facilitate that AP damage through your jungler and still have zoom on champions like this Camille.
And it helps that he got buffed a little and gained some extra range on his Q, so especially in the mid lane where you do have a lot of ranged carries, it helps to be able to get some harass down. Kanavi, he's looking to make a play on this bottom side of the map. Kramer, you're about to be dived, my friend. Here we go. The heart comes on in. The stun is there. The follow-up, the hate spikes. Everything locks Kramer down. LvMao happy to tank the tower. And now suddenly Mark is the target. Name beginning with M, but he goes down regardless.
And this is where Kanavi comes online at this level 6 point. Why Evelynn is so feared, because he changes up the game state so much. Peanut trying to answer on this top side for a Rift Herald, but the plates are already going the way of LoKen.
So Herald will be taken here by LGD, but They have to get, you know, if 2 plates go down, it's going to be even. LvMao finds a Tempered Fate onto xiye as well. There's a stun. The follow-up is perfect. Yagao will be able to just dash over the wall. In fact, flashes to make the play happen. Guarantees the kill. Now they want more as well. Peanut going to be caught by the culling. Knocked up, uses the Ragnarok, but he's already gone down. Another kill for JDG, who are running away with game 2.
The early game was where JDG were struggling in the regular split, fumbling plays, giving kills across the enemy team, but they have shored up their issues. JDG coming out swinging with these early advantages that they can now hit this mid-game hard with.
And Peanut is struggling. We talked about this jungle matchup being the matchup to watch. Kanavi has had command this entire series. Got first blood in game 1, same for game 2, and now better map plays as well.
But the problem is they haven't actually been able to do anything with the lanes to enable Peanut. The strength of Peanut was having xiye and Mark play through him. xiye just got smacked by Yagao there, and now as well Mark on this Yuumi in the bottom lane, he's not able to play towards Peanut either. So JDG, off of the pressure Yagao is creating, the plays from LvMao are not able to at all play around Peanut.
Aggressive plays coming out from Kramer in this bottom side, getting some damage down onto LoKen. You can see LoKen going with a much more standard build, heading towards the Blade of the Rune King here in game 2. There's going to be a bit of healing available with the Caretaker's Shrine. Should be able to clear the minion wave, but the Herald coming down now. Navi's moving over as well to answer.
I don't even think Kramer can get close enough to get these plates. Ah, they will go across there. So
he got damaged recently, yeah.
So he does manage to get them. Now though, xiye.
xiye's in trouble. This could be a kill here. Kill is about to come available, but they don't need the culling. They've got Kanavi.
You're at 3-kill Evelynn and gone for that Dark Steel. He's looking to add that up towards a Magi Soul Stealer. Kanavi, this is a clean Evelynn performance to bring it into our LPL playoffs.
This is the first time we are seeing Evelynn for the whole of summer, and it looks magnificent. 3-0 on 1. First blood has Kanavi had both games, and now Peanut wants to make an answer, but LvMao, he's just going to zip out of the play.
Well, he does have the assistance there of his team. Yagao starting to move down. Now xiye.
Oh my goodness, xiye doesn't have flash. Caretaker Shrine is going to be Tempered Fate onto the mid lane. xiye gets out with some movement speed. And Kanavi, he was busy doing wolves.
There's wounds opening up everywhere for LGD across the map, though. xiye can't hold on to the mid lane.
Oh my goodness, now Peanut's in trouble. Ragnarok's already on cooldown as Mark just tries to block something here. Dashes over to the rest of his team. LvMao won't be able to close the gap. But with Zoom here, maybe they could just pressure the tower. Yagao moving down as well. In the meantime, Kanavi wants himself a solo kill. Langx only has armor to work with, and he doesn't have a clue that this is about to happen. He knows he's doomed now. Dive in the bottom side as Kramer locked up with a Hextech ultimatum. This dive is magnificent. Yagao exhausted, but he cleanses it away and now focuses onto Peanut. 2 kills go the way of Zoom as Mark, a lone kitty cat under the tower, and Kanavi found another victim. Mark's gonna fall. It's Kramer to grab the kill, and JDG are 10-0.
The Spring Split champions are putting their foot down when it comes to our summer playoffs. JDG looking immaculate with plays across the board. Zoom setting up LoKen in this bottom lane, and the superior drafts of JDG are running away with game number 2.
This is absolutely disgusting. And let's bear in mind, that dive on the bottom side didn't even need a jungler. The jungler was solo killing at the top side in the meantime.
And that's the thing, Kanavi playing so well around everything here from Langx. Dodges away from the Bellows Breath, the flash away from the Call of the Forge God, and that's just the rip your heart out from Kanavi.
Oh, the last embrace to finish off the kill, and Langx goes down to the play, and my goodness, I feel like I'm watching a solo queue game, honestly, with the way that Evelynn is just rampaging around the map.
And this is something that I know LS has definitely been talking about a lot, is that Evelynn, in a competitive environment, can shine. And Kanavi is showing us why right now. Able to get off to these fantastic early game starts. She is now an assassin that will certainly take over. And when we talk about LGD, who want to be able to play at range, allowing xiye and Kramer to get some of the poke off against JDG, well, you've always got to be careful of Kanavi lurking on the wings.
Zoom might be in trouble here because Peanut is arriving on the top side to try and make a play happen. Mark is here as well. This would be 3v1. Zoom needs to be cautious. Does have the hook shot available as Langx misses the knockup. But so far, it's just a bad trade for Langx. And Zoom, he has the wave pushing towards him. He's even going to go for it a bow. has the hookshot available. He's just going to zip away. Final chapter comes in. Flash not available as the Hextech ultimatum has to come out shortly. It's going to go down onto Peanut, who was tanking the tower, but he gets himself a kill. The play works out, and LGD finally get themselves their first kill.
It's desperation from LGD, though. They need to try and find some answers, but already JDG get that dragon on the bottom side. They're looking to answer for turrets in the bot lane. This is a tier 1 for a tier 2 right now.
And I don't even know if they can finish the tier 1. There are still plates for now. The plates finally fall, and that should mean the tower can go down. And in the meantime, xiye forced to flash in the mid lane. That was his real flash too. Had to use an exhaust. Will get away with his life, but there is so much threat across the bottom half of this map.
Now Zoom as well can play through this bottom side of the map, shove in that wave super deep, so LGD have to respond. Rift Herald now is going to spawn. You can crack open either of these 2 remaining outer turrets, or even just take that mid turret and use that Rift Herald instead to get another tier 2 for yourself. At that stage, it's not impossible for LGD to try and defend these top lane structures.
And as we head towards the 15-minute mark here, Dagda, coming into today, I was thinking, you know, LGD, they're the team that's going to play around the early game, and then JDG will come back in the late stages of the game. No. JDG are 6,000 gold ahead at the 15-minute mark. They are terrorizing LGD.
And it's the punishments from the draft phase. When we look at the first pick, Zoe, Yagao had an answer when it came towards this Lucian. Ashe picked up for LoKen and LvMao, that pushing bot lane that we've been talking about. They have solidified the lead for themselves there and in the mid lane. Kanavi bringing this Evelynn out of left field means that the entire game plan from LGD has fallen apart because they've no winning lane matchups.
And it feels like the answers are here for JDG as they take yet another tower. And when we look at the jungle specifically in the draft, both of these players like the same champions, but when you just ban all of the champions they both like, apparently Kanavi has the deeper pool.
And this is where you're starting to get the issue. JDG, Triforce completed for Zoom. You've got double Blade of the Rune King completed for JDG. They're good to fight.
Well, they're going to have to be, because Langx starting this one off, getting the knock-up onto Kanavi. Double knock-up at that. Here's the Ornn combo coming through. Last embrace just to get away with his life. Now the rest of the team is arriving. That Tempered Fate is locking everybody up. The culling goes through everybody that's golden and finishes the kill. The final chapter does nothing as Mark will be taken down. And JDG are just dominating LGD. Zoom, he wants himself a bonus kill. Kramer, he's going to try and escape with a hook shot to follow. And an easy little slice from the legs.
Kanavi will go back and pick up the prize of the Rift Herald as well. JDG are on a tear and they are not looking to stop. Decimating LGD and plays across the board from the members of JDG.
And it felt like LGD there, they realized how far behind they were. They wanted to make something happen to find a way back into this game. But it just went further the other direction. 15-1.
And you can tell how much JDG want this win. Denied Worlds by EDG in 2018. Denied Worlds by IG in 2019. Now in 2020, one step away from guaranteeing themselves that World Championship. They are fighting. And with plays like this from LvMao, a perfect Bard ultimate to set up for JDG's early game Rift Heralds, early game fights. There is no stopping JDG in this game.
I just love that combo as well. The Tempered Fate with the culling. Everyone turns golden except Olaf using the Ragnarok. But that just means the culling can only hit one target. It just burns through the health bar of Peanut, who is 1-4, by the way. Peanut is having a really rough series.
This is just LGD not being able to set up properly for what Peanut wants to do. Peanut both games in a row has gone for this early game jungler, but has had no lane that he can really play around. And now he's trying desperately to make plays work.
So last time around, this 3v1 worked out for LGD. But LvMao is off in the wings, and immediately the recalls are channeled. They're like, hang on a second, 2v3, we're not willing to take that back.
And this is the thing, you don't even know if Kanavi's there, right? They actually haven't spotted Kanavi for a while, so they do not know.
They won't do a 2v3, but 5v1, that sounds more like LGD speed. Zoom, though, trying to dash his way across the map. Trouble bubble. Now the knock-up coming on through. Flash already used, but Zoom's going to get out. Magical Journey's there. They've got away with murder.
And JDG now plunked that Rift Herald down in mid lane. The play.
Oh no, Ragnarok was already used. That's going to be a Mikhail's as well as a flash. Kanavi takes a bit of damage. but the tower's gone down, and that's what they wanted. Now with a Tempered Fate, Peanut surely the next one to fall. Yagao has plenty of damage to work with, and it's a tactical sweep to finish the kill. Zoom, by the way, on 6 kills so far this game. This JDG just take everything.
And it's 18.5 minutes, and JDG have got nearly every outer turret down. There's only one standing in the top lane.
Mark, you are not allowed in that jungle anymore.
This is JDG's domain. Everything the light falls upon belongs to our Spring Split Kings, and JDG are still on the hunt. Kanavi trying to see if he can find Kramer.
Kanavi is having a whale of a time. If he doesn't head back to base and turn that Dark Seal into a Magi's, I will be highly disappointed in the jungler from JDG, because this is the kind of game where you don't need a Magi's, but it's definitely a victory lap that you want to go for.
And I'm scratching out my notes here, Bunch. I was talking about JDG, who had such a weak early game in so many games in the regular split, but they're not letting that stop them at all this game.
Well, we're beyond the early game anyway at this point. Langx knows it as he's desperately trying to escape with his life, but that last embrace is always a doozy. Now Peanut in to try and answer the play. TP coming out from xiye as well, but Yagao has the damage to just force Peanut out of this one. xiye looking for a trouble bubble. It's only onto LvMao. In comes Zoom with the slow. xiye goes golden twice in a row, but in the meantime, the kitty cat's been locked in a Hextech ultimatum. Kill goes down, and it's in favor of Kanavi.
And JDG are still running away with this. You've got 4 minutes until that next dragon. Baron has finally managed to hit the rift, because we've actually got to the 20-minute points, despite the 19 kills that JDG have garnered for themselves.
Here's the thing. We always talk about games that have a kill a minute, right? Right now, just JDG have almost a kill per minute. This is the kind of domination that you do not expect to see in the semifinals.
And this is JDG sending a message, not to top esports, but to the world. They want the world to know JDG is coming for them, and they've got so many unique picks, unique styles that you will have to deal with, and LGD are struggling with them right now.
And this is a roster that has never made it to the world stage. Even when you talk about LoKen specifically, he left JDG for a while, went on to top esports, and then continued to get denied the world stage. They've been at regionals for the last 2 years, and they've fallen both times in 3rd place. But JDG, if they can finish this series off, they are guaranteed minimum 2nd seed. What is that damage? It's going to be answered though. No, Kanavi gets out with his life. How does he get away with that?
The slightest of heals coming in from LvMao. He flashed forward to get that Caretaker Shrine down and gets Kanavi out. But it doesn't matter. Kramer's gone. JDG are killing structures, and Baron is what they turn towards.
JDG aren't killing structures at this point. They are killing the hope of LGD fans everywhere. LGD's chance at Worlds may well rest on regionals at this point with the way that JDG are dominating this series. The Baron goes down. They can head back to base. It's 2 minutes until the Mountain Soul. But I got a feeling they're not going to need that extra Drake Doctor.
And we have been talking about JDG and how they have not looked like their Spring Split selves, a shadow of what they once were. When we look at MSC, a disappointing win, or a disappointing non-win, a performance from them at MSC. When we look then at the Spring Split, at the start, games like Suni, where they struggled massively only to just about eke out a victory. That seemed to be the name of the game for JDG for so long. But now JDG, when they come into playoffs with so much on the line, that's when they come alive.
This is just an insane performance. Because even when you think about Spring as well, this was not the kind of win that they got. Peanut has been found in the jungle. It's not even in the jungle. He's just in the mid lane. Will survive with his life. That little bit of MR in his kit definitely paying off.
Paying dividends there, but this is the thing. Peanut doesn't want to be building tank. The whole reason that you pick the likes of this Yuumi is to build off of a mid-game spike with Kramer and with Mark connecting to Peanut, so then they can tear through JDG. The fact he's had to go full tank means that he doesn't have the damage to try and provide this more damage-focused Olaf in the mid-game.
Look at the gold lead just in the jungle alone. 4,000. I mean, when you look at the gold lead overall for the game, JDG are not far away from 20,000 gold ahead. We're 23 minutes into the game. That is maybe the biggest gold lead I've ever seen at 20 minutes.
This is just stop, he's already dead. This is, I mean, this is just looking cruel right now.
Well, Zoom has been the target every single time for LGD. Hextech ultimatum onto Peanut, the hook shot out of there. And the attempt fails miserably. Now onto LvMao. They're going to try and find something out of this play. The crystal arrow goes wide. Zoom jumps over the wall. LvMao waiting for his magical journey to come up. Doesn't have flash. Might go down on this one. Peanut finds a kill. In the meantime, LoKen finds an inhibitor.
I mean, you got a second kill, LGD, but that's two inhibitor turrets that are gone for JDG, and they might be able to stop the backs here.
They are definitely going to stop these backs. Zoom is happy to go down for the cause, because in the meantime, there are 2 AD carries in the base of LGD. Sure, you get the shutdown. Sure, you ruin the Magi stacks. But was it worth the Nexus? I'm not sure that it was. JDG 2-0 with a destruction of LGD.